Hi, everybody. Greg DAmico back here doing an AL coaching session, and it looks like it's spinning, but I think we are up and live. There we go. Uh, Again, give a little refresher here. Greg DAmico. I have a software company called Efficience. I'm based out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and in Fort Lauderdale. Currently in Fort Lauderdale, looking out at that beautiful intercoastal. And I originally got started in my career with financial planning, investments, and so forth, and started a mutual fund and rode that wave up in the late 90s and back down again. Saw the future being software. Went to India in 2004. Set up a company over there and to do development work. And with that, we've been doing a lot of customized mobile app development, e-commerce development, a lot of data integration, and working with companies like Infor that are a big ERP system that we help to integrate and provide data to them. So, with that history, I will jump into some of the questions here. First question is Sarah Hamilton. Sarah asks, can you recommend any apps or programs to use for organizing your to-do list, prioritizing tasks, and time blocking? Business description and background of the question. I am a growing and expanding barbershop and need help with organizing. Okay, Sarah. Well, first let me say that I've got a head cold so I may sound a little nasally and I could go into a coughing spell here at some point. Hopefully we'll get through this without that. So, Sarah, I don't use a lot of apps for things like this. What I do use, my approach, probably better to ask a few of the others to see what you can come up with here, but my approach is that if you put things in the calendar, it gets done. Okay, I have a mentor that talked about this and would pound on the table at meetings and so forth. You got to put it in the calendar. Is that in the calendar? What time are we going to do that, and where is it on the calendar? So when things get put on the calendar, things get done, and that I found that to be very appropriate and useful for my work and my career. So when I want to make sure I'm reminded of something or whatever, I put it on the calendar and I get it done. If I remember to call somebody next week, I put it in the calendar. Another aspect that I use for myself is email. Email is kind of the driver for my world. It's where my team interacts, my clients interact, and I push projects to get things done. So if I am out at night and I thought of something that I want to do the next day and I don't want to forget about it, I email myself. And that will go on to it's basically my list of going through and getting things done. I work through my email to make sure I'm getting all the things that I need to get done. Some people don't like that approach. That's fine, but you got to do what works for you, and it really works well for me. So there's a lot of new software out there that in the aspect of a barbershop that you have, and there's a lot of things that are helping to organize within the barbershop space, to organize in a sense of you having appointments, you pushing those reminders out in emails and text messages to your clients to make sure that they're on time, because if your calendar is working with their calendar, and to make sure you have the most alignment with them, these new systems are a big driver to help. It helps me a lot. Doctor's appointments, haircuts, so forth. I'm getting these emails and text messages from so many different providers now that hopefully you're using a software that will help you drive your interactions with your clients and so forth. Okay, next question. Thanks, Sarah. Corey Stevens. Corey asks, how can I become a better at building relationships with people? Business description and background of question. So I am a distributor of a global company in the health and wellness space. Enagic, I guess. It's Enagic. I'm not really sure how to say that well, but are part of the Direct Selling Association. Enagic offers independent distributors an entrepreneurial opportunity. I am a distributor of a medical licensed water ionizer. which provides 5 types of pH water and over 64 uses from eco-friendly cleaning, personal hygiene care, and produces pure, healthy, hydrogen-rich drinking water, which has a significant impact on people's health. When we are approaching this through the human-based marketing, where we build relationships with people before we offer a solution to the pain, problem that or want or desire. We meet people where they are at and ask good questions to try and establish their emotional need for wanting our product or opportunity. I want to become better at building better relationships and with people, and wonder if there's any resources or practical steps I can take. Well, in this area, I am working on I partnered with Eric Maddox. Eric Maddox is the guy who caught Saddam Hussein. He did it through not waterboarding, it was interrogation approach, and he went through a bunch of interrogations down a line of people and a bunch of raids and more interrogations. He was able to capture and get the intel that led to the capture of Saddam Hussein. And he didn't use waterboarding. He did it he did it with what is now known as empathy-based listening. Okay, very significant step. It was a game changer. He went from 4% rate to 65%, getting cooperation from the people that they were interrogating. And with that, we have partnered to create videos to put them out in the world. So I'll tell you a little bit about a couple of aspects of the Maddox principle that we are putting on video, and we're going to providing to the we're going to start in the financial services space and provide this service to them so that they can become more engaged with their clients. So the first thing about the Maddox principle is that you have to get on somebody else's stage. Okay, everybody, we all have our own stage. We're all playing a role of we are the stars of our own movie. And what happens is that we either get people to come on our stage or we go on their stage and we have these interactions. So, in thinking about that as a stage, what happens so much in conversation is that if I'm talking to somebody about something, like, okay, we'll use your situation here about the water ionizer and so forth, and I'm asking them a few questions, and as soon as I ask them a few questions about it, I'm like, well, you know what? I've got a great product that will allow you to have better water, pure water. It'll make your health benefits and so forth. What have I just done? I went from talking to them and listening to them on their stage and asking them to basically jump over to my stage. And when you do so, you don't build this level of engagement and interaction and relationship and trust with people that allow for you to take it to the next level. What would be a better example of that? And they say, you're asking a few questions and you're saying something like, oh, so what do you currently use for water? How do you help to improve your health with water? And as they start asking questions or start answering that, they may say, well, I haven't done a lot, or I've done a little bit. Or it's like, well, have you thought about the implications of water and how it affects you and your health? And as they talk about that a little bit more, instead of jumping to a solution, you continue to engage them on their side, listening for things that they are going to open up to you that Eric calls breadcrumbs. Okay? And I'll jump to breadcrumbs in just a second. But when you listen for these different things that people are saying, these breadcrumbs, you can continue to engage the conversation and stay on their stage. Okay? The next aspect of the Maddox principle is to get rid of distractions. So many of us are like, I'm sitting here doing this, my phone could be going off, and I could be looking at my messages and thinking about things, and then I'm distracted, and where was I? I'm not engaged in the conversation. I'm not staying on that person's stage. So there's 6 forms of distractions, and I won't get into them, but knowing that we all have distractions, we all think about what we want to say or trying to say before the person finishes, and that's a distraction as opposed to truly listening to them. So there's a lot of things there that can help you when you realize some of those distractions and what can be done. And then there's the aspects of breadcrumbs. Okay, breadcrumbs are key things that people say, key words or phrases that are telling you and begging you to ask you about them. Okay, they're putting something out there and they're saying, here it is, grab it. Can you see it? Can you see it? If you do, I'm going to get excited and I'm going to want to talk to you. And let me give you an example of that. I was out at a restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants in the world, actually, down here in Fort Lauderdale, Cafe Moderanos, and I was talking to one of the bartenders. Now, this restaurant's really hard to get into. Takes weeks ahead of time, a reservation. Sometimes we want to show up there and try to get a seat at the bar, but a lot of those bar seats are reserved by the bartenders. So the better relationship you have with the bartender, the more opportunity you have to get in and get seated and eat the amazing food that the restaurant offers. So I was talking to one of the bartenders, and he was real busy. He's working behind the counter, and we're sitting at the bar, and we're discussing some things. And so I said, so how many nights a week are you working now? And the restaurant just cut down to, they were 7 days a week. They just cut down to 5. And he goes, well, I'm working the 5 nights and so forth, but I'm spending a lot of time working in my shop too. And then he went on to making some people some drinks, and I'm like, oh wow, working on his shop. That sounded like a breadcrumb. So next time he came back around and he was right in front of me, I said, so hey G, tell me about, his name's Gerardo, he goes by G. And I said, hey G, so what is this about your shop? What are you doing? And he just opened up. He lit up. And he was like, oh, I got this body shop, and we're putting these covers on cars, and one of the other bartenders over there, I did one for him, and we're making these great covers, and we can put sayings on people's cars and this and that and the other. And he just was all excited. He stood there and ignoring some of his other customers for a few minutes as he continued to tell me about it, and you can tell he was completely engaged. I put myself on his stage by using and opening up a breadcrumb to get into his world and figure out what was going on with him. So that's my experience that I can share. There's a lot of things out there that can help with relationships. I would definitely read the book, Dale Carnegie book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a Bible for relationships, and everybody in business should read it. If they have not read it, it's a great core book to have in your portfolio of knowledge. And also, there will be more stuff coming out. I'll talk a little bit more about the Magic Principle. We're in the middle of filming it now, and there'll be more stuff out in the future if somebody has an interest in understanding that at a deeper level. Next question is AJ Kotz. AJ asks, how do you know when it's time to fire a client? Business description and background question. In my online marketing agency, there are 2 specific clients who consistently are frustrating to deal with. Their communication standards do not exist. When they need something, they expect our undivided attention at the expense of everything else. And they consistently struggle to pay us on time. Both can afford us. It's not a cash flow issue. I'm at the point where I'm ready to be done with them mentally, but firing them would reduce our monthly revenue by about 30%. I'm struggling with the idea of losing as much revenue and gaining so much time back. Okay. IJ, I would say that if you're asking yourself the question, you're probably pretty close. Okay, so what should you do here? Well, there's different things you can do, and as opposed to just walking away from them or firing them, it's always an opportunity to engage them in a way that would open up the opportunity for you to have a better relationship and make more money, or push them away. So what I'm saying here is that what could you be doing to incentivize them to leave that may change the game and give them a little bit more respect for you, and also you maybe more profitability. Okay? So I see this as anytime you have challenges in business, always looking at it as the opportunity. And what's the opportunity to make it better would be to go back and set some parameters in this relationship. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, you guys have been pushing us really hard. We're not getting paid from you. I I would think that if you want so much from us, you would not have a challenge to be paying us on time. Is there something that we need to discuss here and how we should be working together? And open up the conversation and then listen. Listen for those breadcrumbs that could tell you more about this person, this situation, and where they're at. What's driving them to be so on top of you that they don't feel your processes and your flow of what you're doing is creating a positive environment and a positive marketing growth opportunity for them. So, what is it? So, and you may want to come back to the client and say, hey, we're really struggling over here. We're struggling with the amount of time that we have. We're going to need to increase our prices and so forth. And a lot of times you increase your prices, you get more respect from your clients. And it's painful to think about and to do. It's been painful for me at the time, but when you do it, you realize that most clients just flow right with it. They respect what you do and the value that you provide, and they're willing to stay with you. Now, if it's really that bad and some of that does not work, then I would start with getting rid of one of the clients. You said 30% of your revenue, so maybe they're like each 15%. Since you said you had two, and with that, start with pushing one in some direction, pushing them with higher prices or less something so that they take themselves out of the picture, or they change the dynamic of the relationship. You guys together through this interaction change the dynamic of the relationship. It becomes positive and you actually make more money from them. Okay, that would be the place that I would want to go first. I want to see where it is that's causing these challenges and really dig into it so that you can lock this client into a longer term relationship with this interaction and this questioning, and they're digging into their business and understanding them better and taking it to another level as opposed to losing the client. We've all heard the adage that it takes multiple times more money to get a new client than to keep an existing client. So that could be an option. But there's always those people that you just cannot work with anymore. And when you get rid of them, employees in your company that are cancers in your company, and there can be clients that are cancers in your company, and you just have to get rid of that person. And with the employees, you either coach them up or you push them out. Okay, with the client, you can coach up the interaction with them, or you can incentivize them to leave you if you rather them make the decision than you. And sometimes that's a better thing to do as opposed to just telling a client you don't want to work with them anymore. Push them out through charging, hey, we've just come upon a different part of the year. We're increasing our pricing and doing such and such, and make it so much money that if they stay, it's going to be worth you to keep that client and deal with their pain and suffering, or they'll just leave because they don't want to pay the higher pricing. Okay, those are some options. Hopefully that can help you out, AJ, and get you on a different track with these customers. Next question is Kristen Pitts. Kristen asked, advice/tips on how to handle running a business with a family member who is micromanaging and afraid of change. Business description and background of question. Excuse me. I am starting the first phase of taking over my father's business of 30 years to eventually running it while he is still a majority shareholder. I am going to be in training, learning how everything works. I have worked there before, and it is still running as it did in the 1970s. There are a few updates that need to be made, especially for growth. He is kind of open but afraid. He is hard to get him to see me as an adult because I'm ultimately still his daughter. Looking for strategies to build trust, become a valued asset and trusted teammate. Communication strategies for old school to new school changes. Thank you. Okay, Kristen. Very typical. A lot of businesses I've been around have been businesses that have been passed on, and a lot of situations and dynamics with people. We always got dynamics with people in business. It's the toughest thing we have. It's our biggest area of stress. It's also our biggest area of value creation and so forth for the people that we have on our team. I say that over and over, and hopefully I say that every time I'm online here, because it's how significant it is. So your father has been in business for 30 years, okay? So trying to get out of your mindset that he's not open to change. Anybody who's been in business for 30 years has done nothing but dealt with change, and he is still in business. And so thinking of him as somebody who deals with change is going to help you be open more so to interacting with him and thinking that he's completely closed off. Now, he may be closed off to some ideas because he's not ready for them. He's done things for a long time, and they've worked for him, but still he's had to make changes within the world that he's lived. So, and you are right that today business in the digital world is different than it was before. Different in the sense of marketing, not in the different a lot of times in the sense of how you run your business, but different in the sense of how you market your business. When you market your business today, you have to have exposure to people. If you want to get them to come to you, more of them to come to you, then you have to be at their place where they go. What is it? Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Where are these people hanging out? Where are they communicating in communities and networking within communities? And you got to be at that space. One thing you didn't tell me, Christian, is Kristen, what is your business? I don't know the business, so I'm a little handicapped in trying to maybe give you specific examples of how that can this can help you. But the fact is that you want to start with something that is small, okay? One step. And with that one step, if you like say, hey, Dad, I want to expose us to a new group of clients that we haven't got to before, and we can do that very easily within this social media space of LinkedIn. We're a professional organization. I'm just kind of making some things up here, relative to who you are. So we're a professional organization going after people on LinkedIn. We can message them, we can connect with them, we can tell them about what we do, and we can build an automated system that would follow up and engage them and tell them about our offering of what we do and maybe bring more clients to us. And with that, you have the opportunity to take one step. Allow him to. So if you just say, hey, we got to go out in social media, the world, we got to go after Facebook, we got to go after Instagram, we got LinkedIn, we got to have TikTok, we got to go have Snapchat, that's just too much, okay? Do it in one small chunk, one small step, one small bite, and get moving in that direction. Now, remembering the fact you're his daughter, you have a basis of history and knowledge, just make sure you're as educated and up to date on the environment that you want to talk about as you can be. When you come to somebody and you show them value, a business owner especially, a business owner, been around a long time, he said, listen, a lot of people come sell them things or her, and they've come to sell them things, and they've taken the ones that that showed them that they could add value to what they were doing. You show your father you could add value with this piece and make it a very small piece again, he's going to open up to working with you when you show the value that this opportunity will allow for you. Remember, take the step, take them down the path of what's going to happen and ultimately what's going on. Dad, we're going to take a couple steps here, we're going to do a couple things, and with that, it's going to start generating us clients. And I can show you how it would work. It's not going to cost us much money to do it, and how can we go about making this happen. I want to go out, I want to make this happen, and then I want to take these steps. Are you comfortable with that? And so, there's just different things you have to do. You have to show that you have the capabilities, and maybe the history of the relationship could challenge that. Maybe he doesn't have a history. Did you show him over the years that you got things done, that you were out there making things happen, that you went and learned what you needed to learn? So some of that has to be factored into how you approach this, but definitely work with making sure you come to the table with as much value as possible. Okay, I hope that helps, Kristen. Okay, so next question is by Quade Sturdy. I think you say it. Hi, Quade. Quade asks, how soon is too soon in regards to scaling? Business description and background of question. I'm an owner-operator of my construction business. I am 23. So there can be a lack of credibility that follows. I would love to get my vision crystallized and put into motion. However, I feel I will face people that may not want to work for a 23-year-old. Okay, Quade, good question, because it addresses the key aspects of why we all struggle in business, and that is our self-imposed limitations. Okay, we all come to the table with some self-imposed limitations, some that we're not good at. We're either good at math, we're not good at spelling or vocabulary or reading, we're not good at presenting an image of ourselves, we're kind of shy. All those things come to the table, respective of every individual. They come to the table with some type of reason why they can't. And it is the most important thing that we have to break through to have true success in our lives, success in our business, success in our relationships, success in with our families, is to get rid of self-imposed limitations and move past them. Not that they have to be completely gotten rid of, you just have to move past them. So let me give you a little history. I went through a couple years of college. I got an internship with Mass Mutual Financial, and I started selling life insurance, and which at that time I got in, they were breaking into the financial services industry, which I was very intrigued with. I was getting started an accounting degree, but I switched to finance, and I was wanting to, this whole area of financial planning and understanding people's numbers and how to grow wealth was just completely jazzed me. So I went out at 19 years old and started selling insurance. And then 20, 21, 22, I was dressed up, suit and tie, and my wingtips, and I'm walking around University of Tennessee, meeting with professors and talking to them. And here I am in my early 20s, talking to these 40, 50, 60-year-old professors who've been around on this planet 2 or 3 times longer than I have, telling them about their finances. And you know what? Some of the people probably looked at me and thought I was just too young. But others, they worked with me. I built a client base. And I did it because I read all that I could. I became as much as conscious as I could about the knowledge that I was sharing with people. And I tried to learn how to share that in a good way. I'm sure I was really bad at it. I'm sure I was terrible at it. But you know what? I just pushed through. I was terrible at communication, I wasn't a good listener, and all these kind of things that I know about myself over a long history of self-reflection and so forth. But what I did is I still created clients, and I still got business. And so worrying about the fact that you're 23 is, to me, a waste of energy and a waste of time. What is your plan? You said my vision, to crystallize my vision. What is that vision? Put it down on paper. Paint it in a picture. It's a term called the painted picture, where you describe what your future is going to look like, and you put every detail in there, what it's going to sound like, what it's going to look like, what it's going to smell like, what it's going to feel like when you get to this level of success. If you could describe it in such a vivid description, you have the ability to make your mind open to being out there and attracting this world that you're wanting to create. And whether you're 23 or not, doesn't make a difference. You will get some clients. We all get some clients. We all get some. We don't know the reasons all the time that we get them. And maybe some of them will be because you're 23 years old. But you know what? You go into every relationship. You tell them what you know. You tell them that you're going to get this done for them. And you just continue to show people that you get it done. You won't have to worry about a thing. So my son sounds like your story. He got into construction in the early 20s. He was working with his stepdad, and I was helping to finance some house building, and one thing led to another. Now he's got his very own successful construction company, building $650,000 homes. He's got 12 of them. They're building in a little subdivision that they've developed and created with him and another partner, and he's going out and he's doing all kinds of work. And early on, though, it was like, this was 2010, 11, after the nasty meltdown. His college friends were out getting high-paying jobs, and he wasn't making that much money. And he said, "Dad, I can't take this. I'm gonna quit." I said, "Well, you can quit and go work for somebody else, but is that who you really are?" And I said, "You don't have a lot of expense right now. You don't have a lot of overhead. You can deal with the fact you don't have a lot of business. But you know what? If you hang in there and you push through, at some point in time when this comes, all the people that are kind of getting pushed out of the fold right now are not going to be around, and then you will have been around for more years, and people will be coming to you. And now he's got more business than he can handle. So he's doing some construction jobs, and he's building out this development, and he's just got a lot of big things happening. And he started in his early 20s going out and telling people that I can do this for you. You got to do it though. You got to go do it. You got to get it done. You got to get it done at a fair price. And when you put that together, everything else will build on itself. Okay? Okay, Quade. Good luck with that. And hope that manifests for you in a way that's positive and so forth. AO, I am out of my questions for this month. And good to be here, even with a cold. I think we got through it all right. Hopefully everybody could hear what I was saying. And until next month, take care, all. Onward and upward.